Good evening. Welcome to an episode of Aging with Attitude. My name is Phil Koch. I'm your host this evening, and yet again we have our good friend, Secretary of State Elaine Marshall. It's great to have you. And before we even get into the topic tonight, which is online pharmacies, I understand that you have some recent news that you possibly like to share.
I do. Everybody's gigging me a little bit. And on the 22nd of July, I remarried. I'm thrilled. Tommy is someone I've known for a long time. In fact, as couples, Bill and I and Tommy and Linda were friends. And we both lost our spouses to cancer in 2009. Mm-hmm. And just eventually later on just started a relationship and found there was a great deal of companionship there. And so we were married in a very small private family wedding, and haven't taken a honeymoon exactly yet, but will shortly. So I'm just looking forward to a new chapter in my life.
Wow, that is so exciting.
Yeah. Thank you.
That's so exciting. Well,
Thank
congratulations. I'm sure everybody here in the network and in the group wishes congratulations.
And I'm not going to change my name.
You're not?
No,
okay.
No, I'm not. All my credentials are Elaine Marshall. I am an elected official. It's too hard to educate the public on a name change, so I'm going to remain Elaine Marshall, and Tommy's very cool with that.
He's cool with that?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, again, that's welcome news and super congratulations.
Thank you.
So today you've really came on to talk a little bit about what continues to be an ongoing issue, which is fake online pharmacies. You want to touch base on that?
Yeah, fake online pharmacies are a serious problem. We are very fortunate to be able to be the first and only in the country to be running a project that is supported by a foundation, and the money to do what we're doing is from the federal government because they recognize this problem. As Secretary of State, we are the counterfeit regulator. If there's counterfeit merchandise out there, it's our job to get it off the street and charge and possibly convict the folks who are selling it or making it. We've known that there have been fake drugs out there for a long time, but I just didn't have any way to help people real well with this problem to avoid fake, adulterated, perhaps even toxic drugs. So a lot of people shared my concern, and a group came together. This group is not, I repeat, it is not the pharmaceutical industry. So set aside what you think about drug prices because we're trying to fix a different problem. The group that is behind the foundation are people who are infrastructure for electronic and online processes. It's folks like Microsoft. It's folks like FedEx, UPS, the folks that PayPal, the folks that you would use as a support network when you go buy something online. Mm-hmm. So it's our job to keep counterfeit goods out of North Carolina, and we're very glad to have this strategic partnership that's put together the research, put together the tool, and now with the federal government's help, we're promoting this tool that's available out there. The program is called verifybeforeyoubuy.org. And if you want to put it into your computer, verify before you buy, and you will be on your way. So we'll be happy to tell you let's get going, and I'll tell folks how to use this.
Well, please do. So walk us through how this would work if I'm Joe Consumer and I'm looking to buy something online.
Okay. First, people are very comfortable buying things online. Mm-hmm. It started out buying tickets. Now we buy clothes, we buy food, we buy whatever our grandchildren say they need this or that for soccer that I never heard of. So, they just tell me how to find it, how to buy it, and bingo, it's all done. Delivered to me or delivered to them, whatever. It's very, very convenient. Right. So folks have been looking for ways to get drugs at a cheaper cost and maybe even a little bit more efficiently. But we know that they search for these things. So when folks are putting in the name of a drug in a search engine, and they are in North Carolina, though this is only a state-specific program at this point, people are watching to see what the results are. Okay. A little message will come up to say verify whether this entity that you're looking at is legitimate or not. And what we are telling people, and this is a real key part of it, is cut and paste the URL of the entity that you are looking at and paste it into the Verify Before You Buy tool, because there are a lot of component and different ways that a name can be put in there that seems like it's something else, but it's not, or there's some tricky spelling in something, cutesy spelling. You need to get it just right. And then when you do that, the little search engine will go on and it'll say if that is a legitimate site, if it's a rogue, which means stay away from it, that means bad or somehow incomplete, illegal, something's wrong with it, or undetermined. Sometimes they can't tell. What is a reality is that there are hundreds, thousands perhaps, of internet pharmacy sites on the web, and there may only be 100 companies behind them or 100 set of crooks behind them, because they'll put up multiple, and that's why even though they can be taken down, it's kind of like weeds in your garden. You pull one and a couple more pop up. Right. So these same folks, because it's hard to get at them, and if they're in foreign countries, it's much harder. You know, they'll just continue to pop up and put more nice-looking pictures, cutesy things, you know, attractive things to make you think, testimonials from people. It'll look just like any other legitimate site, but it's not.
Right. And tell me again, sorry, it's Verify Online?
Verify Before You Buy.
Sorry, Verify Before You Buy.
.com.
Okay. Great. And so if I have a particular pharmacy that I've purchased items from, or I want to purchase because we hear the prices are good, I would go to this website, verifybeforeyoubuy.com, copy and paste the URL into that to see if it's been validated by your department?
No, it's not being validated by our department. It is being validated by the Foundation for Safe Internet Pharmacies.
Gotcha. Okay.
They are the ones that are actually doing the background work on this. Okay. We don't have the capacity to do that. Right. Now, my job in this whole thing is a public awareness campaign, and that's why I'm here today. But I'm not alone in this public awareness campaign. We have set up an advisory committee, a strong advisory committee, strong partners here in North Carolina who are with us on this. One of them is the North Carolina Chamber of Commerce. One of them is the North Carolina Department of Insurance through their SHIP program, which provides insurance information to seniors. One of them is AARP, again, a strong organization to send out information to seniors. Another is Wake Tech with their nursing program. One of them is the North Carolina Council of Churches, again, another great method for communicating out to people. Right. Another is the North Carolina Justice Center. Another is the North Carolina Association of Family Physicians. They have been such a strong partner for us in this. It's unbelievable. A lot of doctors have not been aware of this problem. We've got a doctor that has done some radio shows and TV shows with me who said something that doctors don't say very often, and that is that they know a medicine in a certain dosage is supposed to help or cure a certain situation. And when the patient comes back and that hasn't happened the way it was anticipated, the doctors start thinking, well, maybe they didn't take the medicine correctly. Right. Maybe they didn't take the medicine, period. And before this overture in the last 6 months or so, they never really thought about maybe the medicine they got wasn't what I intended for them to have. Some of these medicines that in our regular work that we have confiscated, we've had them analyzed. Some of them have no active ingredient that the doctor is seeking. Sometimes it has less. Sometimes some of this stuff has been adulterated with toxic material. I actually saw a video, undercover video of some fake medicines being made in south of the border in what looked like a cement mixer, go round and round and round. And for the yellow color for this, they were using highway paint, which is so metallic and you know, just so toxic. You should not be. That's the reason why they paint it on the highway. It lasts forever. It's, you know, exactly. It's got all kinds of heavy metal and stuff in it. So these are just real dangerous things. The other thing is, let's say it is a legitimate Canadian pharmacy, and I want to talk about Canadian pharmacy.
Right.
What standards do they have in their pharmaceutical world? In this particular video that I saw, they were just grabbing it out in scoops and putting it on the composition in there onto a wooden board that had little places hollowed out for the pills. So they used what I would use, a spatula in the kitchen, spread it around in there, and then pressed it down with their fingers, their bare bones fingers, no sanitary gloves or any other sanitary attire. And then they put a plate on it, and then they put another wooden block on it, and then twisted down tight a pressure operation so that it compacted those pills in there. Then in a later picture in this undercover video, they had a whole bin of them, and they just grabbed out and started counting with their bare hands to put 50 in a bag and 50 in a bag. Just,
right.
That ought to scare you to death, and it did when I saw it.
Yeah.
We don't know what sanitary standards, storage standards, medicines are affected by temperature and moisture. So you never know what's happened. You have a higher comfort level if it's here in the United States.
Yeah, even if they have the chance of, let's say they are sending the correct medicine, but if it might even be a generic. For example, I know of seniors in Charlotte that I know of a woman that received a drug, and it turned out it was not the actual drug. It was a generic of it, which it takes a doctor to say it's okay to take a generic version of that specific drug. For example, epileptics. Ooh. If you were to take a generic form without the permission of a neurologist, I'm not a doctor, but I know for a fact from experience from others that could be a real disaster, even if it was the actual drug, but a generic form of that, no?
Right, yes.
Yeah.
And let me say, I know that there are some insurance companies that have sent people to their own internet pharmacies here in America. That is not what I'm talking about.
Right.
I am not talking about if you were CVS, Walgreens, Rite Aid, to go to those. Now, I would say a word of caution, though. Sometimes their sites can be spoofed, but those companies are pretty good at tearing down any bad operators that are pretending to be those. So I'm not saying that that's the bad thing.
Right.
What I'm saying is that when you start looking for a Canadian, that's one of the real difficulties. I'm not angry with our friends in Canada at all, but so many of these have a little office in Canada. They're not really Canadian at all. They came from India, Mexico, China, who knows, even bad actors in the United States gone there. Right. But we have a comfort level with saying Canadian because they're just like us, basically. And we think, Canada's had a reputation for having lower cost drugs. And I'm not saying that, getting on a bus and going across, you're actually dealing with somebody that you can see and feel and touch in those situations. But it's this buying online. Yeah. Buying online when you don't know. And I want to come back to your comment about generics. Yeah. One of the very interesting things that people need to be very careful about. Now, what I have here is a mailer that came to a lot of people in the Raleigh area. And we have covered up, for privacy concerns, the name of the person that this came to. Right. And when you open this up, talks about lower price, lower genetic prices, limited time offer, save up to 80%. This is an attractive brochure. Mm-hmm. Talks about the donut hole too. They put a donut in there. Right. But then when you get in here, look at this. These are hundreds of different drugs that are available from this so-called Canadian pharmacy. Now, we put the name of this pharmacy in, and it's bogus. It's rogue. Wow. And when I showed this to the physician that I referred to, family physician who looked at this, he was absolutely astonished because there are drugs in here listed that don't exist. What I'm saying is, if here in America we have 50 milligrams, 100 milligrams, and other quantities, they've got way more quantities in here than we allow to sell in America. I mean, we really don't know what it is, but it's very suspicious. And I will tell you, in our actual work here in North Carolina, a lot of times what we're seeing are what we call lifestyle drugs, Viagra and Cialis being the most common. When we started looking at this this is actually illegal, Cialis, Viagra, Levitra, for them even to use these names. And so that's a trademark violation right there if we could get a hold of them. But I think it was Cialis. Let me find Cialis here. Yes. Here there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 varieties of Cialis. They tell me there's only about 2 or 3 here.
Holy cow.
Yeah. And this is interesting. They go from 10, 20, 2.5, 5, 20, 20, 20. And they're marketed differently. I don't know if it's all the one same product, but some say daily. There is a Cialis Soft, which I guess is gummy bears. I don't know. I don't know. The doctor was astonished. There is no such thing. This is just tricky marketing.
Fraudulent.
Fraudulent, tricky, yeah, right. Fraudulent, illegal marketing. And just goes on.
Which is
and
scary.
on
So
and
not
on.
only are people paying good money to pay for these fraudulent, they're not even getting the correct drug
Dosage.
that they're paying for at a probably the reason why it's a discounted price, right?
Right, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
But it could even be harmful. It's not just the fact that you're not getting the drug.
Right,
It literally could be harmful.
that you're getting something that could harm you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could harm you 2 ways. Not getting the medicine you need, or actually something that's really awful for you.
Right.
So again, we just encourage people to be very, very careful.
Yeah.
With this, we also have found that they say, well, what if there's a little frequently asked questions in here, and it says, what if I don't have my prescription? And it says, just go ahead and take a picture of the bottle and send it to us. That's illegal. You can't fill a prescription in anywhere in the whole United States by just sending a camera shot of the bottle off to the pharmacy.
Yeah.
So that's illegal. So.
And they're getting your credit card information. So not only are you paying for a drug that might not be correct, but now they have your credit card information. If they're fraudulent, which many of these are,
They have your address.
they have everything.
They have everything. Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm very pleased that we have this tool now.
It's great.
That can help us to point people in the right direction. I understand. I understand the concern about paying for these drugs.
Yeah.
We're encouraging, and the Family Physicians Group is encouraging folks to just bring this topic up with your doctor, because they may have some additional resources.
Right.
The particular doctor that I mentioned has been doing some media work with us. He just goes to the computer now when people bring in stuff that they have, and he'll punch it up right there in the office and show to them that it says rogue. And not to embarrass him, but to inform himself better, and that the doctors are taking a little more initiative with getting information into their patient hands about ways that they can cut their drug costs.
Well, it's a little bit off topic, but on this subject, having seen a lot with seniors myself, you know what I see a lot of? I'll get a phone call from one of our clients and they'll say, I have a charge here on my credit card and I don't know anything about it. And then I'll, at their permission, insistence, will you help me look at this? So I look at it and I call up the company. Turns out it's a company that got the credit card information, and it's never these big charges, right?
These are test charges. Yeah. These are test charges.
Like $9.99 or $7.89 or $12. And when you look into it, it's these test charges, and then they don't hit you with thousands of dollars at one time, because of course you'd immediately block it.
Right.
Right.
Is they're hoping that is very common. That is a part of the crook mentality. They will get these credit card numbers and they will test out with a very cheap, low dollar item on there to see if you're paying attention. And if you're not, They sometimes, the next steps are running a whole lot of little other ones, $10, $20, because you're right. If they throw $1,000 on there, folks are going to just jump up and knock it off. But if you do a whole lot of $10 and $20 and $50 ones, after a while, that can rack up.
Yeah.
For a lot of losses, and it's devastating to the seniors.
Yeah, one woman we dealt with recently, she said, and I forget it was a particular item she ordered online.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, well, they'll give you the first 3 months supply for free. Okay. Oh, okay. She's all over this. And then the 4th month hits, and she's paying for this, but then there's some other surcharge that's tacked onto her bill every month that she didn't know about that comes out in this agreement that she signed that she didn't realize via verbal conversation.
And sometimes it's very hard to get these things off your ongoing credit card charges. Yes.
Yeah. So when in doubt, go to verifybeforeyoubuy.com.
That's correct.
Or you could call up your office too, right?
Well, you could, and we could punch it in for you.
Okay.
But if you're there online and searching them online, just do it yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And the federal government and the foundation that's behind this is very pleased with the number of people that are beginning to look and see these. So it may be more widespread in other states. But some states don't do any work in this counterfeit good area, whether it's medicines or other things. So that's why North Carolina was selected to be a test program for this. And I'm very grateful to have everyone's assistance, because as I said earlier, this is a problem that perplexed me for a while. Because if I want to alert consumers to a problem, I also want to give them a tool for solving that problem or a way to help themselves from not getting further entangled.
Now, do we have any, just out of curiosity, are there any numbers of how much fraud is committed online via drugs, or is it not calculated yet? I mean,
the Food and Drug Administration says, this is staggering, that 97% of the pharmacies out there are fraudulent.
Oh my gosh.
97%.
Wow. Holy cow. That's
Holy
staggering.
cow's right. Right.
Now, are most of those offshore or supposedly offshore? You can buy your discounted drugs through Mexico or Thailand or, I mean, whatever the country.
We believe that's so, but I don't have the specific knowledge about that.
Right, right. Yeah.
So, with the methodology that they use, like photoing your actual bottle, that's illegal per se, so we don't have to go any further than that. Right. So, I guess there is a possibility it could be a legitimate pharmacy, a brick and mortar pharmacy in Canada that you could go knock on the door. But because of their methodology, that's illegal in America. So that's why there's such a high percentage. I often said, I wouldn't allow anybody I love to buy drugs online, really. Yeah. I think it's just a very, very high risk. And we all think we're very good about identifying fraud and things that look funny, but, they don't misspell anymore, and they don't put distorted graphics on anymore. They're just very good. They're very good at what they do.
Yeah. And if on this note of, as the senior population continues to grow, that's sadly and tragically a opportunity for crooks to increase their activity, which is going to happen because there's a market out there.
Right.
Is it safe to say that, we have a lot of very independent and rightfully so seniors that are out there that want to, but when in doubt or even remote question mark, it doesn't hurt to share your concerns or questions with other people, correct?
That's correct. Don't take the risk.
Yeah.
And, let other people know your suspicions rather than talk about them behind their back. Just have a good, intelligent, level-headed conversation and point out why these could be fake and what kind of risk do you want to take with your health. That's the real issue. And again, it's not that all of them have toxic material. They may be just wrong medicines. And if you don't, wrong quantity of the active ingredient. And if you don't think this isn't real, just last week, we did a raid at a distributor in eastern North Carolina where we picked up over 5,000 individual tablets of either fake Viagra and fake Cialis.
Wow.
That was going to be gone out to convenience stores, bookstores, who knows where. But we like to go up the chain to get the bigger operators to knock them out of the business rather than some of the local people that are just selling.
Yeah.
We're happy to get them too, but anytime we can find out what the source is and where it's coming from, we can be of more help to people that way.
Yeah. I mean, even it could happen to anybody. Even my parents, for example, they were telling me a story. I was home recently, and they said, "Oh yeah, we went online to order something, and they asked for our Social Security number." And I was like, "Whoa,
Wow,
whoa, 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 whoa!" Now, I'm not as computer savvy as my children. Okay, I'm just not.
Well, I'm with you. Yeah.
But I'm probably a step better than my own parents, and if I can pick up on the fact that anytime somebody asks for a Social Security number online, it's a disaster.
Red flag.
Don't ever do it.
Big red flag.
Right? I mean, there's
Big
no
red flag.
need
Right.
to ever key your Social Security number in for an internet site.
That is correct.
Right? I mean, they
Never.
can ask for other things, but not that.
Right.
And they literally were going to do it,
Mm.
and we're able to stop it because that you can once you get a Social Security number, you could do anything. Right?
Right.
So it's an ongoing problem that doesn't end. Are there other counterfeit products that you're seeing from your department that's becoming a concern or starting to raise the red flag out there?
Yes,
Sure there
and
are.
let me tell you, it's the other end of the spectrum. This is in teenagers. We are seeing fake contact lenses.
Wow.
We've got some young ladies in the Cumberland County area who have eye infections, and the ophthalmologist has spoken with me and believes that one of them is going to have permanent blindness from it.
Wow.
So, you don't buy contact lenses at nail salons or flea markets or convenience stores. You're just putting a dangerous, unsanitary thing in your eye, and your vision is very, 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 very valuable to you. So again, it's not just senior citizens, it's everybody out there. If the product's at some place where you wouldn't normally find it, leave it alone.
Leave it alone. When in doubt, leave it alone.
Leave it alone.
Ask questions. Well, I want to thank Elaine Marshall yet again for not only being on the show tonight, giving us some great information, but for being newly married and about to go on her honeymoon.
That's right.
We want to thank all the viewers out there. Thank you again for joining us on